Could tensions between Ethiopia and Eritrea escalate into a serious conflict in the Horn of Africa? Ethiopia has formally accused Eritrea of cross-border military operations and support for armed groups, raising urgent new security concerns for the region. What triggered these accusations now? How could this impact stability in Ethiopia and Eritrea? And what does it mean for the Red Sea corridor, a vital route for global trade? Ethiopia and Eritrea share a turbulent history, from the 1998-2000 border war to the recent Tigray conflict. Today, a formal diplomatic warning threatens to unravel the fragile 2018 peace agreement. The stakes are high for the Horn of Africa's security, trade routes, and regional stability. This is Horn Lens, your source for clear, fact-based geopolitical analysis. Subscribe and turn on notifications to stay ahead on developments in Ethiopia, Eritrea, the Horn of Africa, and global trade corridors. So, what really triggered Ethiopia's accusations? How will Eritrea respond? And what does this mean for the future of peace and security in the region? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Diplomacy, standoff, or escalation? In the next 7 minutes, we'll examine the latest developments, explain the strategic stakes, and reveal why these tensions in the Horn of Africa could have global consequences for trade and security. On February 7, 2026, Ethiopia escalated the crisis with a formal letter to Eritrea, leveling its sharpest accusations since the 2018 peace. Ethiopia accused Eritrea of 3 major offenses: occupying Ethiopian territory, supporting armed groups inside Ethiopia, and conducting joint military operations with those groups. These charges mark a severe diplomatic escalation, moving the dispute from rhetoric to formal crisis. Ethiopia demanded Eritrea's immediate troop withdrawal and an end to all support for militants. These demands follow months of rising hostility since the end of the Tigray War, where the two were uneasy allies. The letter puts Eritrea on the spot and signals to the world that the situation is urgent. The path to dialogue is now narrow, with both sides entrenched. The international community faces mounting pressure to intervene before the crisis spirals further. The stakes are high, and the next moves could determine the region's fate. Will Eritrea respond with restraint, or will the confrontation escalate? Ethiopia and Eritrea's troubled history is key to understanding today's crisis. Eritrea's 1993 independence left Ethiopia landlocked, fueling decades of strategic anxiety. Border disputes erupted into a brutal war in 1998, killing tens of thousands and displacing many more. The 2000 Algiers Agreement ended open conflict, but left the border unresolved, freezing relations for nearly 20 years. In 2018, a breakthrough. Ethiopia accepted the border ruling, and peace was celebrated worldwide. But the alliance fractured during the Tigray War, as Eritrean troops intervened and unresolved issues resurfaced. Eritrea was excluded from the 2022 Tigray peace deal, deepening mistrust. The spirit of reconciliation quickly faded, replaced by suspicion and hostility. Old wounds reopened and the cycle of conflict resumed. The hope of lasting peace now hangs by a thread. At the heart of the crisis is Ethiopia's lack of sea access, a strategic and economic vulnerability. Dependent on Djibouti's ports, Ethiopia pays steep fees and remains at the mercy of its neighbors. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed has called for Ethiopia's right to the Red Sea, alarming Eritrea. For Eritrea, any suggestion of ceding territory, especially the port of Assab, is a red line rooted in its hard-won independence. Ethiopia sees port access as vital for its future. Eritrea sees it as an existential threat. The dormant port of Assab has become a symbol of this standoff, gateway for one, national identity for the other. This fundamental clash of interests is the explosive core of the crisis. Neither side appears willing to compromise, raising the risk of conflict. Ethiopia accuses Eritrea of aggression and destabilization, demanding respect for its sovereignty. Addis Ababa insists its quest for sea access is separate from the current dispute and open to negotiation. Eritrea, however, sees Ethiopia's claims as a pretext for invasion, dismissing the accusations as propaganda. Eritrean officials argue Ethiopia is manufacturing a crisis to justify military action and rally support. Each side views itself as the victim, Ethiopia of foreign meddling, Eritrea of expansionist ambitions. The demands and counter-accusations have hardened positions on both sides. Dialogue is stalled and mistrust is deepening. The risk of miscalculation grows with every passing day. The future hangs in the balance, with three possible paths ahead. The best-case scenario is renewed diplomacy, with mediators stepping in to de-escalate and verify claims. More likely is a tense standoff, diplomatic ties severed, troops on high alert, and the threat of war ever present. The worst outcome, full-scale conflict with devastating consequences for both nations and the region. A new war would bring mass casualties, refugees, and economic collapse. The next moves by Ethiopia and Eritrea will determine whether peace or disaster prevails. International pressure could help, but time is running out. The world waits as leaders face a fateful choice. This crisis is not just regional, it threatens global trade and security. The Bab el-Mandeb Strait, vital for oil and goods, could be disrupted by conflict, impacting economies worldwide. A war would risk drawing in neighbors and global powers, turning the Horn of Africa into a proxy battleground. Humanitarian disaster looms, mass displacement, famine, and shattered progress. The world is watching as Ethiopia and Eritrea stand at a crossroads. The decisions made now will shape the region's and the world's future. Can these nations reconcile economic needs with sovereignty? The answer will echo far beyond Africa's shores. Today, we explored Ethiopia's accusations against Eritrea, the historical tensions, and the potential impact on regional security and global trade. While the situation is still developing, the stakes are clear. Stability in the Horn of Africa, humanitarian concerns, and the safety of the Red Sea corridor. This has been Horn Lens, translating complex geopolitics into clarity, context, and strategic insight. Stay informed, stay ahead, and we'll see you in the next analysis.